afternoon, Rodney Elliott. My name is Adolfo Cruz, and we are here with UTEC Young Adults. We appreciate you having your time here at UTEC's Youth-Led State Senate Candidate Series.
My name is Aiden. This interview will be youth-led and focused on issues that directly impact our lives, like housing, jobs, mental health, criminal justice reform, and access to services. UTEC has a history of learning about candidates through candidate reforms since 2005, and we appreciate you for joining that legacy today. Our goal is to learn more about you and your priorities and how you would show up for young people and their families if elected for state senate.
And again, you will be asked a series of questions that we came up with. They're all similar for each candidate, and you'll have 2.5 minutes to answer each question. And we'll let you know throughout each question how much time we have left.
Great. To start us off, can you share what motivated you to run for this position and what you'd focus on first if you were elected?
Yes, so my name is, which camera am I looking at? My name is Rodney Elliott. Thank you for having me. I'm currently a member of the House of Representatives, a state representative. I served on the Lowell City Council for 24 years. I served a term as a mayor. I thoroughly enjoy being a public servant. And that was just, I've also worked 42 years in various jobs. My first job was actually a legislative assistant working right here for the 1st Middlesex District. I was a city planner in Lowell. I was an administrator in the towns because this district also includes the towns, so that experience will be helpful. One of the reasons why I'm running. So my experience, I worked for the Environmental Protection Agency for 25 years. I also worked for the Department of Environmental Protection, as well as the Department of Conservation and Recreation. So, that's kind of a little bit of my background. And I run because I want to make the city a better place to live. And I will say, since I started back in 1997, the city is on a path. We continue to reinvent ourselves. And the city's, it has changed, and it's changed for the better. We still have a lot of work to do. But I also run, for many reasons, including, improving services, education, and, many other things. So my time has run out, so.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Along with that,
And believe it or not, do I have 30 seconds?
Yes.
I was here, as I was reminded, I was here for the first candidates election, and I was also here when UTEC opened up. So I want to give a thank you to Greg. He's been here, I think, since the outset, but also to all of you that, make UTEC, and you're making a difference in the lives generation after generation.
along with that, we have a very ongoing issue in our community with housing. Housing has been really expensive for young adults, and it can be difficult to navigate housing resources. How do you see the current housing situation, and what would you like to do to make housing more stable and affordable?
Adolfo, it's a great question. It's a question that's I'll say plagued. There is a housing crisis, and it's plagued us for quite some time. We see rents skyrocketing. I'm a member of the Lowell Housing Authority. We have a board of commissioners, and I remain on that. I was appointed by the past two governors. So we see. I see my role as looking for opportunities to to create more housing. The more housing you create, rents may come down. But the solution, there is a question that's going on the ballot for rent control, and that rent, controlling rents won't affect the individuals that have one or two homes or one or two, three, four, up to 4 units. This is about the big, the big corporations. They have massive units across the Commonwealth, and they just keep raising rents. So, I think that question's on the ballot. I will vote for that question because, we've got to do something. We continue to create a lot of housing in Lowell. And I will say since 1997, when I get on, all of these mill spaces were vacant. And now 97% of them are full. And we still have more work, and you see more housing going on. But we also, it's affordable housing. You know, Low Housing Authority, we have a 6,000 person waiting limit. And that's not acceptable. People come to, housing and put their name on the list when they've exhausted all of the other avenues. So we need to continue to build housing. Since I've been on there, we have two projects that one's going to build 32 units of home ownership, affordable, and the other one's going to build 118 units. So we need to continue in that direction. And I will say Lowell does a good job. I can't say the rest of the communities around the Commonwealth. We need their participation, and that's the direction that I feel that we have to head into. And by the way, we just adopted a $5.2 billion housing bond bill. It was last year. There's lots of incentives for lots of programs, and that's gonna pay dividends.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Former Senator Kennedy was a strong supporter of UTEC and helped support funding every year for a mattress recycling social enterprise. If you are elected, would you continue to advocate for the funding of the mattress recycling social enterprise in the state budget?
Absolutely. I think that's a program that is recognized across the Commonwealth, and credit to UTEC for, having the vision to create such a program where it's about jobs, it's about, taking mattresses and, protecting the environment or recycling. You have my full commitment that I will support that line item, without a doubt.
Thank you.
I will say Senator Kennedy and I, we served together in the Lowell City Council. We worked very well together he was on the Senate side, I was on the House side, and we collaborated well. It'd be an honor to carry this program and some of the other initiatives that we worked on together. We passed several bills together, and this is an important one.
Thank you for your answer.
Appreciate that. So tying on to the whole thing, when it comes to UTEC's overall budget, what do you think we could prioritize or, make better organization support when it comes to our budget? What could we, prioritize? Prioritize. Best ideas.
Yeah, well, I have to tell you, I just listened to staff downstairs, and each time I come here, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with how services evolve, how to identify issues in society, and how to provide those services. I did hear now you provide a housing service. I think that's an important element, to try to provide for people coming into reentry. It's unfortunate the federal government decided to cut this budget by $2 million. I think that's money well spent, in my opinion. You get a federal government that's trillions of dollars, and to cut this program was, to cut funding for this particular program was wrong. What we'll do, what I commit to doing at the state level, I see the results. We see the results, and so do other people at the state. I mean, expand it to Haverhill and to Lawrence. And, we see results. I think it provides an important service to people in this community and for individuals that need that support. So I'm going to continue to fight for resources. I think this is an important program. I think you do great work with the funding that you have and then some. So I think we need to continue to provide more resources, not less. So I don't know what priorities are out in this organization, but I can tell you that, as I did Craig, if I'm elected to this position, you're going to have somebody in the Senate that's going to be an ally, and I'm going to fight for more money for you.
Legislation called Raise the Age, which would gradually raise the age of juvenile convictions to include 21-year-olds. Is this something you support? Why not?
I'm almost certain I'm a co-sponsor on this, as I was telling Hummus. Is he here? What is it? Hamza. Sorry. Yeah, I do. Look, everybody deserves a second chance, right? And I just wanted some information about how the brain develops and decisions that we've made. Look, I made some ridiculous decisions. I made some bad decisions when you're younger. So that's something that I would support.
Thank you.
A lot of young people want to work in our community, but face barriers into getting jobs, especially those with criminal history. So what would you do, or, put along to help create more job opportunities for these young people, especially those who have been impacted by criminal involvement?
Yeah, I know that there's also a bill that I've looked at. Clean Slate is a bill down at the State House. I would, I think it's too late to co-sponsor, but I would look at that bill. The bill states there's an automatic clean slate after certain years. I think that everyone should be given an opportunity to have a clean slate, right? After a certain amount of time. And the automatic part makes me a little concerned, but it doesn't mean that I can't support the theory behind it, right? That, this should not be impediment. People, getting back on track, want to get a job, want to get housing, and so that is a bill that I will consider looking at a little bit more closely after I looked at it before I came down here. So I think it makes sense. Again, people need a second chance, and if it's kind of along the same lines of expungement, right? So, yeah.
Thank you.
Many young people struggle to find mental health services that are affordable and easy to access. What would you make sure that everyone can get mental health care that they need? What would you do to make sure everyone can get the mental health care that they need?
It's a great question. The state adopted a bill called the Access to Better Care Act, and I'm glad we adopted it. I wasn't down at the legislature, I believe it was in 2019, and it provided a comprehensive approach to mental health and substance abuse services. And I will say, since that time, we've seen an increase in demand, right, for mental health services, behavioral health services, substance abuse services. And in Lowell, we have VinFem, right, where people have mental health services and they're brought to the emergency room where they really need services, and they go to VinFem, which is it's the old Sullivan Mental Health Center, right next to Lowell General. I think we need to continue that path where VinFem is also opening another office for individuals who do have mental health and substance abuse, and if they commit a petty crime, rather than bringing them to Middlesex County, they're going to bring them to this place where they can get services, mental health, substance abuse, behavioral, which, I think that makes sense, right? Rather than bring them, and the Middlesex County Sheriff's Department and the Middlesex District Attorney are all in collaboration. I'm pleased. I think that's another pathway to provide services that you do here to get people services that they need and not just incarcerate.
Smith? Along with that, it could be very difficult to navigate basic services like the RMV and anything that comes, motor vehicle access or whatnot, agency. How would you make these services more accessible, but more easy to access, more easy, get through?
Well, I have to tell you, the Registry of Motor Vehicles, I know that they're going through a transition, but I will say my office, we receive between Department of Unemployment Assistance and Registry of Motor Vehicles, those are two of the biggest emails or complaints that we get, and it's frustrating. I wish I had an easy answer to that. I know that the governor has gone through that both departments to try to get better online services, to get better services, but Alfonso, I don't have a good answer to that, unless there are some other services. It's government, and I believe that's why you have elected officials, right? When somebody won't pick up the phone at the state, when you call and call and call and you get no service, then you call me, and I go to the managers or I go to the supervisor saying, why isn't this claim being processed? Why is an individual trying to get their license? Why is there a logjam? And that's the way I think the system works. It's unfortunate, but I think that's a constituent service that's important, and I've done hundreds of them, and that's a critical element of this job, in my opinion. I return every single phone call, every text. I'm not so good on Facebook, I'm just saying. I don't get to Messenger as much as I should, but I'm accessible, and I may not be able to solve or get the answer to every single problem, but I pride myself on getting back to every single person and try to resolve their issues, even particularly with housing, right? And we can talk about housing a little bit more later, but yeah, that's important to have a state senator that responds to you.
So one of our last questions was about the clean slate policy. Do you have anything else to add about that, or how would you advance those efforts?
Yeah, you know, I do think that it's important that people who, you know, have records, that after a certain period of time you prove yourself, right? I mean, why do you have to carry that, or, you know, carry it, you know, forever when you're trying to, whether it's a job or housing. It makes sense to me that, again, people given a second chance, and part of that second chance is that slate, right? Clean the slate. So the automatic part, I'm not sure what the premise is. I read a good section of the bill. I still have more to read, but it seems to make sense that they have something in place, and it's certainly worth a discussion, and we're going to have a conversation. Sometimes legislation it's a compromise, right? It's back and forth. Let's get to the root of the issue, and you know, if some go away after a certain period of time, that's good. I always like a little bit of a checks and balance on pretty much everything. So,
Intensive.
Well, thank you. That's it for today. Thank you for answering our questions, and we appreciate your time. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to learn more about your viewpoints. And Bruce.
thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your commitment to the community and what you do, because you're our eyes and ears. We need to hear from you. We need to know what we're doing right and what we're not doing right. So I hope you can pass the word to those that can vote to consider me. There's an election February 3rd. It's a special election, and if you can support me, please pass the word, and I'd be honored to serve in the Massachusetts State Senate. All right. Thank you very much. Yeah.